Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line as he does every week on the show to talk about the world of movies and entertainment. He is from Cinemablend.com. He is not an AI. He is a real human person of some sort. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend. Hey, man, what's up?
A real human entertainment journalist.
Yes, not a drone or a droid or anything like that.
People seem to like drones and droids, but, when they're not trying to take actual jobs from actual, people. But I am doing well. How about yourself?
I was just thinking about that should be a Saturday Night Live skit. A robotic AI movie reviewer. I like this movie. It chops the right way.
That almost sounds like an extension of Osimo from South Park.
A little bit, yeah. Have you seen The Recruit on Netflix?
Yes.
The torture droid they made?
Oh man. That was a really great gag. Folks, if you haven't watched it already, The Recruit is on Netflix. It's one season. It is a spy thriller comedy, and it's been renewed for season 2. It's really funny. But I'm sure season 2 is currently on hold because of the WGA and SAG-AFTRA writers and actor strikes. So probably a delay.
We're making our way through it right now. I think we're like an episode past that. And I keep thinking it's like there was that movie, The Recruit.
Oh, yeah, with Al Pacino and Colin Farrell.
Yeah, and I keep thinking it's tied to that, and I keep having to get it out of my mind that they're not together. It's just a different series. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line. So we got some movies this week. We've got some news. We've got some interesting tales of moviedry. Did I say that right?
Moviedry. Interesting.
Moviedry. It's kind of a cool term. I don't think it's real, but...
Oh, no. You'd probably go with something like cinema or,
No, movietry.
Film or something. But movietry, that's interesting. You go with that.
That's going to be the name of my next podcast. Welcome to Movietry.
Ooh. It almost sounds like a Netflix competitor.
Yes.
Movietry.
So on today's show, we're going to dive into, we're going to talk a little, you're so not invited to my bat mitzvah. Did I say that right?
Bat mitzvah.
Bat.
You're still not invited to my bat mitzvah.
We'll talk about Bottoms, Vacation Friends 2. We're going to dive into Ahsoka, and there's some Barbie news. There's some Michael Mann news. Only Murders was interesting this week, plus some interesting things going to the world of digital. But anyways, let's start with the movies for this week. The one you've seen, and I didn't have it written down right. For the bat mitzvah, right?
No worries. Yes, you are so not invited to my bat mitzvah.
Okay, because it's different for boys and girls, right?
Correct. These are Jewish rites of passage, and a bat mitzvah is the female version, whereas a bar mitzvah is the male version.
Bar mitzvah, not ba. Okay, I had the complete wrong word. I apologize. So, anyways, this is Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah, this is Adam Sandler, and actually, it's a family affair because Adam Sandler, his daughters, and his wife are in this. And it is not, don't be scared off by that. It's not a case of like Nepo babies gone wild. This actually really works in the movie's favor. Although Adam Sandler's wife's not playing his wife. She's playing the wife of another, I think it's his daughter's best friend who she's fighting with, and her mother who's getting divorced from Louise Guzman. So if I haven't already enticed you with the cast, the story is about a young girl named Stacy, played by Sunny Sandler. Her and her friend Lydia, played by Samantha Lorraine, are sort of having a fight because Stacy sees Lydia making out with the boy she has a crush on, and this is right before both of them are about to have their bat mitzvahs, which are pretty big deals. It's like they go over it in the beginning where basically a bat mitzvah is like a sweet 16 or a quinceañera. It's one of those big splash out the money, congratulations, you've become an adult parties.
Okay.
And the energy behind this is part Adam Sandler movie, part 80s teen movie, and part, TikTok generation. This is based off of an actual novel by Fiona Rosenblum. And this is it's a lot of fun. I feel like this is Gateway Sandler. This is something that has now created a genre I like to call Gateway Sandler because there are references and there are moments that feel very similar to what he was doing. And like, there's a Billy Madison reference in here, flat out. Like there's a variant of O'Doyle Rules in here, which I think he also did with Hubie Halloween. But
I forgot about Hubie.
I know. Oh, we're probably going to talk about that again at Halloween, just because it's
wonderful.
Hubie Halloween is wonderful, and that's also why this movie is wonderful. Adam Sandler's settling in, or not so much settling into, but he's sliding into sort of the family comedy really well. And he is a teen movie dad in here. He's absolutely hysterical playing against both of his daughters, because his daughter Sadie also plays the older sister in the family. And then there's also Adam Sandler and Idina Menzel are now a couple again on screen. And it works out so much better for them in here than it did in Uncut Gems. But it is a very warm, very funny movie. It is definitely something that, this is, I would say it's like sort of straight down the line in the sense that kids will enjoy it. Parents can get something out of it. I like that not only is there, it's another female coming of age story, which we kind of need more of, obviously. It's also a young Jewish woman coming of age story, which we also don't get a lot of out there. So it's very interesting to see what audiences of any faith will pull from this.
Yeah.
But I will say Sonny and Jackie both daughters take after. Oh, I'm sorry, Jackie Sandler is his wife, but she's also the whole family's hysterical. Sonny, Jackie, Sadie, Adam, I would like to see them flat out do some sort of family, like maybe road trip comedy or something.
Oh boy.
Because they tend to be in, like, I think he's cast them in previous films of his in like various roles, but they never play. I don't think they've done a full family together.
Yeah.
Like I know Jackie was actually in The Outlaws. I think she was the drunk caterer in The Outlaws. Oh, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. It's a lot of fun. It's a very easy, very sweet watch, and like I said, it just sort of plays with some of that old school Sandler energy, but sort of retrofitted for kids today.
Awesome.
And yeah, just go watch it.
Perfect. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line with me right now. That's going to be out on Netflix this weekend if you want to catch that. The other couple movies haven't seen, but I'm going to go out on a limb and think they're going to be freaking amazing. We'll start with Vacation Friends 2. You have not seen the first one, right?
I have not seen the first one, and I want to watch that as well as the second one because, again, this is another one where I'm kind of surprised. I'm still kind of surprised it's just on streaming because the first one did so well for Hulu. You thought that maybe they would have tried to maybe roll the dice and go to theaters, but I guess they really want to build up their own library, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But I mean, you have Lil Rel Howery in here, and you've got John Cena, Yvonne Orji from Insecure, and I believe Meredith Hagner plays John Cena's wife. And then, like, you've got those four people, and I remember that trailer looked absolutely insane. You've now got a sequel where Steve Buscemi's coming in, and I believe he is John Cena's dad in this.
Oh, it's so funny.
And in fact, you know what? I'm going to take the time to look this up because it's right in the press release.
There's no Wikipedia page for Vacation Friends 2.
Well, probably because it's like, again, it's a streaming movie where it's not, the details may not be as readily available as like, oh, here's a big press release for our new big movie. Like, I think the biggest announcement they had made at one point was, oh yeah, we're doing it. Oh no, it's John Cena's on-screen wife, played by Meredith Hagner. It's her father.
Oh, okay.
Her incarcerated father, Reese, is released from San Quentin and shows up on their new vacation.
I'm going to tell you right now, Vacation Friends, when we watched it, it was amazing. We had a lot of fun with that movie. It wasn't anything you hadn't seen in another movie before, but it was just well done. John Cena and Lil Rel.
Yeah.
Very funny together. Very, very, very funny together.
It just looks like something where this feels like the weekend for just loose, casual but effective comedy movie for all people and all sorts of many sorts of viewpoints. And I like that there's a weekend that this is happening, but I do also agree. I think Adam Devine said this and he kind of caught hot water for it. He's like, oh yeah, Marvel movies, I'm just paraphrasing. It was like, wait, Marvel movies kind of wrecked the market for like comedies like this to go to theaters.
Yeah.
And to a certain point, I would agree with that, but not wrecked so much as just obviously studios shifted their approaches to, they wanted to basically do what they wanted to give the people what they wanted, so to speak.
Well,
and you're lucky to see well, what? I sense that.
I'll tell you this, we're watching it this weekend, my wife and I. This will
Oh,
definitely...
I'm ready.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line with me right now. The other movie coming out, what's this coming out on Bottoms?
Bottoms is a theatrical release.
Oh, it is a theatrical. Okay.
However, from my understanding, it is going to be in limited release this weekend.
Okay.
And it is going to, somewhat limited, although I just looked it up and there's a couple theaters by me that have it, so I don't think it's as limited as I had heard. Check your local listings just in case. I always encourage that even when you're going to see a movie. But anyway, Bottoms.
It's actually in Des Moines. Wow.
The thing about Bottoms is I want to start with the fact that my friend here, B-sox, I don't think he had seen the trailer before we talked before the show today.
No, we
So I told him, look. So I had a feeling. I just had a gut instinct, and I went with it. I was like, look, I need you to watch this trailer before we record just to get your feeling on it. So B-sox is playing it. I'm listening to his reaction in real time as he's listening to it. How hard did you laugh?
Very hard, because it is the setup for everybody so they know what we're talking about. It's basically a bunch of high school girls set up a fight club, and Marshawn Lynch is their fight club coach.
Yeah, they sucker him into being their student advisor of sorts, and he's a gym teacher.
Yeah. It looks amazing, and listen, I'm going to tell you right now, Marshawn Lynch is funny. That dude is really, really funny.
And as we were talking about off air, it's like I love when athletes can crush in acting, especially in comedy. I love the fact that you've got people like Marshawn Lynch or, LeBron James in Trainwreck way back when, blew everyone away with his thing. You could even say Mike Tyson with The Hangover to a certain extent. There's just been cases where some athletes are just, or hell, we're talking about John Cena today, and then automatically you think The Rock, and it's there's just certain people that are cut out for that. And to watch them thrive is wonderful. And also you've got Ayo Edebiri from, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, ma'am, from The Bear.
Okay.
And Rachel Sennott from Bodies, 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 which I still need to watch because I've heard that's also, wicked funny, but also a great horror movie.
This looks like a real throwback to 90s comedies.
I would even say 80s.
Really? You'll go back?
Close.
Okay.
Possibly, but okay, so maybe 90s, but also there is a very much a female Superbad vibe to this, because some of the dialogue seems like it's just taken straight out of Superbad. That one scene where I believe it's Rachel Sennott's PJ is and then we're gonna do this and this and this, and then the girls are gonna be kissing us on the mouths. That just reminded me of Jonah Hill's spiel where he's like, by the time I get to college, I'm gonna be the Iron Chef of pounding. Can you say on the air?
Oh God. The premise on Wikipedia is 2 high school senior girls set up a fight club to hook up with cheerleaders before graduation. This is perfect.
And if you were not sold by that line alone, I normally would tell people to avoid trailers, especially for something like this, because comedies are so hard to sell in a trailer.
Yeah.
Especially when, how long is this movie? This movie is only 88 minutes. Your trailer is going to be 3 minutes tops, 2.5, 3 minutes maybe. And to sell a comedy, it feels like such a damn tightrope, because you have to think of which gags to tell, which gags to spoil, and which gags to keep for the movie. And that's so hard. If you really need more selling, I'd say go watch the trailer. I don't want this to become another Blue Beetle. I'm sorry. I will not allow it.
The other thing about this, with Marshawn Lynch in mind, going back to him, if you get a chance, he was on a show called Murderville, and it was it was a show. It's hard to explain because you had people actually acting in it, and it was almost like a contest where they would drop in like a Marshawn Lynch or something into it, and they would have to try and solve the crime and solve the
Well,
murder.
yeah, and on top of that, if I'm not mistaken, it was improv. And you
Yeah.
had Will Arnett as the Will Arnett was the series lead.
Yep.
But then you had people like Marshawn Lynch, Conan O'Brien, like other guests coming in and just pushing things along.
I'm looking at the co-stars. Conan O'Brien, Marshawn Lynch, Annie Murphy was in there, Sharon Stone, Pete Davidson. Listen, if you get a chance, go watch the Marshawn Lynch Murderville episode. It is fantastic.
It sounds like he was actually in 2.
Was he?
It looked like it when I was looking him up because I think it said he was in the Christmas special too, but I could be wrong. But in any case, Murderville is now streaming on Netflix, and Bottoms, according to Wikipedia, is in limited theatrical release this weekend before expanding on September 1st. But so far, it looks like there is a healthy market for what Rolling Stone has apparently called the horniest, bloodiest high school movie of the 21st century. Okay, let's go.
All right, sounds good. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com on the line with me right now. Otherwise, go into a few other reviews real quick before we get to kind of more news. Ahsoka. First 2 episodes came out this week. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it because Mike hasn't seen it.
I haven't done the homework. I don't have time to do the homework. Do the homework maybe some other day when I feel interested.
We were starting it the other night. My wife goes, they have like a different kind of scroll than they usually do at the beginning of a Star Wars thing. You know how in the movies they do the They did the same thing, but they did it different. It was kind of neat the way they did it because you knew what they were doing, but it was different because of the show.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh God, there's words." And she goes, I'm like, "Do you want me to pause it?" She goes, "No, it's usually a crapshoot with Star Wars and me anyways." So, anyways, she came back and the show, which, by the way, the other thing people are making comparisons to, the opening is very Game of Thrones-like.
Wonderful.
I saw a meme on it today, just in passing, but it was like, we want it to be Game of Thrones, but not real noticeable. Say no more, and it's like the same damn thing. But anyways, it's not bad. Like you said, you have to do homework before you do this. They're not holding your hand when you jump into this series. You got to know a little bit about Ahsoka. You got to know a lot about Rebels, the animated show that was on Disney. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, it is, like, usually they'll take like an episode and kind of introduce people in this stuff, you know? This was not that. This was, we're jumping in feet first, and this is what we're doing.
So for everyone playing along at home, there are 7 seasons and 133 episodes of the Clone Wars, and that's after the Clone Wars movie that introduces everything. So that's Ahsoka right there. Sort of, that's the Ahsoka part of this, because Ahsoka is our big star.
Yeah.
But also there are characters from Star Wars Rebels, which is 4 seasons, 75 episodes. So how many episodes did I say was Clone Wars?
Like 100 and something. There's like 200 episodes of stuff you need to watch here.
133 of Clone Wars, 75 episodes. 208 episodes of TV and 1 movie. Yeah, folks, you got the time?
I will say this, in the realm of Star Wars and what they've asked us to watch over the years, Rebels and the Clone Wars is some of the better stuff.
I've definitely heard that, and I have been interested in getting into Clone Wars and Rebels. Don't get me wrong. I have been interested because I did hear they're great. Dave Filoni did wonderful things. I heard Rebels especially was like a lot of fun. Clone Wars took a little time to get off the ground because that movie was apparently very shaky ground. But between not being able to finish these other Star Wars shows that they put out there that I did have interest in, like, I haven't finished Andor. I haven't finished Obi-Wan. I gave up on The Mandalorian season 3 premiere. I still want to watch the Book of Boba Fett, but haven't. Like, there's so many of these other things that require less homework that I can go dig into, and especially with Andor, because Andor ties into Rogue One. Rogue One's one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I would want to do first, but no, this is coming. This is down on the conveyor belt. You gotta be there or be square, dude. And it's like, cool, I guess. That's just kind of how relentless streaming is.
I just feel like, one of the things with Star Wars, I was just thinking about just now, that's confusing with it, with all these different shows, it's all sort of in the same space, in the same time, the same, like, 100-year window.
Yeah, a lot of it. A lot of at least the stuff on film. Like you go to both sides of the literary and the canon outside. You've got stuff like the High Republic, which goes like I think 1,000 years or like several thousand years
But
before
what
New Hope, and like
the point I was trying to make is you have a lot of stuff that, like, if you do something in Ahsoka that's, only a couple years before, the Rey movies come out, it's kind of harder to, fit that stuff in. Where like Star Trek, they have multiple shows out, but they're in very, very different timescapes where there's hundreds of years between them. So if you tweak something, it's not like the next year that something happens. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, this feels like
Okay.
Star Wars feels a step slightly removed from the Marvel thing where it's like everything's connected and we'll figure out a way to just get it. But everything in the Star Wars universe is like everything that's filmed, you could throw a rock and somewhere a Skywalker is standing there, and or somewhere a Jedi is standing there, or somewhere someone familiar, something familiar is there. And this actually ties into another story for news this week. I'll save that for the end. But it's basically very much in the filmed and animated canon. It's all basically concentrated in mostly concentrated in that same 30, 50-year period. I don't know how long it is between Episode 1 and Rise of Skywalker, but I know it's decades. It's like that collection of decades.
Yeah.
And then you've got all this other space that people can roam about in and have done so, and they're trying to do so, I think, with some of these other offshoot projects like Taika Waititi's movie, if that even happens, and stuff like that.
I will say this, and with all that being said, I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. They had kind of a cool callback. Not really a callback, but it was familiar. If you've played the Jedi Survivor game with Cal Kestis, with what Ahsoka did at the very beginning, like there was a quest, and it seemed very much straight out of the game, and like an ambush that's sort of out of the game. So that was kind of cool. The characters are well done. Comparisons from their Rebels counterpart, the animated version of it. But you know what I will say? The one character got one of the coolest intros I've ever seen on Star Wars. And if you imagine a really cool Star Wars character riding a speeder to the Star Wars version of punk music.
Interesting.
It was very different for Star Wars, but it was very, very cool.
Huh.
So overall, I've enjoyed it so far. It's held the attention of my wife and I, more so than what was the last one that came out? Andor. Yeah, I didn't care for Andor.
Huh.
Which is weird because I like Rogue One is one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. Like I said, Ahsoka, it's not bad. We've liked it so far. Only 2 episodes in. But you do need to do your homework before you watch it to get everything out of it. Moving on down the line for other stuff from this week. Where do you want to go? You want to do Barbie? You want to do Blue Beetle? You want to do what?
There is actually something else I wanted to touch upon, and I don't know if you've seen it. I watched it. I probably should have told you to watch this beforehand, too.
What?
Did you see the trailer for Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon?
I started it. I didn't something came up, and I just never got back to it.
Oh, man. I think it looks fantastic.
Okay,
and the reason I mentioned that is because the whole thing was Zack Snyder back when, so the story goes, back when they Disney first bought Lucasfilm and they were thinking about new Star Wars movies. He pitched them a movie where he's like, look, I want to make a Star Wars movie that's like based on inspired by Seven Samurai. I don't want to use familiar characters, and I want to do it R-rated. And they were just like, no. Well, no. And then he eventually took that concept and turned it into the movies that are coming out between this winter and next spring called Rebel Moon. It is now a 2-part movie experience. The first one, they released a trailer, and I think the trailer's for, I don't know if it's for both films. It felt like it because this is technically supposed to be a teaser, and it was like 3 minutes. So
yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, so while you're watching that, I'm just going to fill in the audience. So part 1 comes out on December 22nd. Part 1, A Child of Fire. And then I believe part 2 is called The Scargiver, and it comes out in April. And I have time to look that up because B-sox is still watching the trailer. But there's already talks about, like, apparently, according, I see a story from Kotaku here, Rebel Moon will have a 5-hour-long director's cut. they're going to do R-rated cuts for these movies, and there's going to be like a video game that ties into it.
You know what's funny?
I'm
My
wondering.
first thought, and granted, I'm watching this without sound because we're recording at the moment. At one point, I was like, it feels like there was about 3 different movies that they took scenes from and put it into one trailer because it had very, very different looks.
You definitely need to listen to it because part of the audio to this is the voiceover of Sir Anthony Hopkins playing Jimmy, the last of a race of mechanical knights that served under the fallen king.
Okay.
Like a king is deposed and a young warrior rises and she gives him hell. And yeah, part 1,
Okay.
Child of Fire, comes out December 22nd.
Part 2, The Scaregiver,
comes out April 19th, 2024. Oh, you want to be an expert? Go right ahead. I'll fucking wait.
I'm sorry, what the anyways. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com is now angry at me.
Lippert trying to sabotage my operation. I'll you like a pig.
Oh, Jesus, man. Calm down.
Well, sorry, I wanted to throw that out because that's one of my favorite quotes from Whiplash. I'm sorry. It's an extra bleep, I know, but it's worth it.
I heard a great one. Someone said something to one of my friends, I'll throw your ass down that rock road. I don't know why I thought that was such a great line this week.
That's a good one.
I'll throw your ass down that rock road. I've never heard a gravel road called a rock road.
Exactly. That was immediately the first question. Like, what is a rock road?
Yeah.
But then automatically your brain goes to, I don't know what a rock road is, but that sounds like it's painful. Okay, fine. We're going to play it your way.
No, this looks cool. I think I'll like it. I'll definitely watch it if Netflix doesn't take away my account by then, but you know.
Okay. But yeah, this is apparently another universe that Zack Snyder is setting up with Netflix. He has a role-playing video game coming out with it. He wants to do a TV series.
Oh, cool.
I think they want to make a trilogy, and he's diving in again. He is
Good.
diving into another world that he's going to build, and I hope it doesn't take away from Army of the Dead because we still have that anime prequel and a potential sequel that's been, rooting around.
Well, cool. I like it. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. Real quick, can we go back to Disney for just a second?
Yes, we can.
We finished Secret Wars or Secret Invasion.
Oh, congratulations! I hear that's a stamina test.
Steph, she was like, "Should we finish this?" And I go, "Can we not?" She goes, "Let's just do it to say we did it." So she put it on.
How many episodes did you have left?
We only had the one.
Yeah.
I was completely ready for this to be done. It was awful. It is rivaling on what was the Inhumans movie? Bad.
Oh, Inhumans, the whatchamacallit?
Yeah,
it was TV show.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the movie, and then they turned it into the TV show or whatever. I mean, it was awful. Marvel is writing themselves in a corner where they keep creating overpowered people. It's the same thing.
Go on.
I was just going to say, it's kind of the problem you run into with Superman when he's so powerful that it's hard to do anything. It's hard to make a compelling story with him because he's so overpowered compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's hard to do. They're doing this
definitely
with these different characters where they're making them so overpowered that it's like, what are you going to do?
It's like playing with that kid on the playground that's like, oh, wait, I absorbed your powers. Oh,
yeah.
Wait, Infinity Shield. Oh, wait, Fireball.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I know that feeling. I hate it too. But it's funny you mentioned the writing themselves into a corner thing because we have a feature on our site about
Cinemablend.com.
Someone on Cinemablend.com. We have a feature over there that talks about that. Someone had basically written about how all the retconning and all of all of that stuff where it's like, oh, this character was really a Skrull all along. It's like it's sort of also writing Marvel into a corner.
Yeah.
And between that and then looking at superhero box office this year, it really feels like the strategy needs to change. There may need to be a break. from doing this, because we're really seeing the limits of this whole thing being tested right now.
And somebody in my building said it. He goes, if the quality was good, the quantity doesn't matter. If it was worth
Exactly.
watching, if it was good, I don't care how many shows or how many movies you put out. But when you put out all this stuff and it's just bad, it's like, okay, we need to take you had something really, really amazing. You did something really amazing for what, 20 some movies, and now you're ruining it.
Yeah.
You're ruining it.
It's not good.
And it's almost the same thing. It's the same thing that they've run into with Star Wars, and that's Disney with, hey, we're just going to keep putting out content. Got to keep putting out content, and it's like, well, is it good?
And it's definitely. I mean, yeah, these are supposed to be plans. There's supposed to be plans here.
Well, the other part about it, you know what it is? It's not so much not that it has to be good content, but is it content that the audience wants?
And that's I haven't watched it yet, but there's Patrick H. Willems, video creator on YouTube. That word is something that I think we're going to be reckoning with. Content. That word is something I think we're going to be reckoning with through the strikes and through just look, because one of the deeper questions that people are asking about, the deeper subjects everyone's looking at right now, is streaming. Yeah. And what is it doing to the ecosystem of entertainment? What is it doing, like, in terms of everything from audience tastes to, monetization to all these other things? And the word content, it's just, I tried not to use it as much as possible for the sheer fact that it really has become sort of a dirty word at this point. It's like, oh, we want
it's a catch-all.
Content.
It's a catch-all.
Yeah, and it's like, it hurts me now. It makes me cringe. I'm
not saying it out of malice for any of the writers or the actors or anything. I'm totally on their side and think they should get their cut. But if I use that word, it's because that's the world we're living in. Because when you are looking at platforms that put out movies, TV, comics, YouTube series, all this other stuff, you've switched to content instead of the other one.
Yeah, it's again, it's something that we would really need to have a reckoning with and to dig into deeper, just because of the fact that it's also starting to confuse people in terms of, what's going to box office, or what's going to the movies and what's not. Like, we saw Elemental sort of pulling out of the Pixar slump, slow but steady. But that first weekend, it did not look like it looked like it bombed, because Disney had shifted Pixar movies into streaming exclusives for a little while. Like, there was movies that you had Soul and you had Turning Red, these movies that were ready for theatrical, to the point where I think there were like 3D and IMAX versions for these movies. I'm sitting there watching Turning Red for the first time, and at the end it says optimized for IMAX theaters. And it's like, I would have liked to have seen this in IMAX and 3D.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen this in a theater. And I'm really hoping that now we're seeing Barbenheimer really help things a lot. I'm hoping that is sort of like the thing that sort of turns the tide, and it's like, okay, we need to focus more on theatrical. I'm not saying kill streaming exclusives altogether, but it feels like there needs to be a slowdown, and there needs to be time for people to catch up and be able to watch, because I know that there's all these reports that say, oh, record-breaking streaming this day, record-breaking streaming this weekend, and it's like, yeah, but we don't know those metrics.
Yeah.
And we don't know those metrics because people want to use it as leverage in some cases for how much you pay people.
Well, the other thing you get into is wasn't Obi-Wan, didn't they were going to make it a movie, and then it was like, oh, we're going to change it into a streaming series.
Yeah, I believe Obi-Wan was originally going to be a movie. Well, then you've also got Armor Wars that was supposed to be a series and is now being shifted over into a movie.
Is it really?
Yeah, Armor Wars is being shifted over into a movie, which is really interesting.
Oh, God. Just what we need. So anyways, I didn't mean for us to go down this road, but I'm kind of glad we did. But back to Secret Invasion. It is awful. Disney, do better. Marvel, do better.
I haven't finished it, so I really wouldn't know. I just really didn't like that first episode. But I will not take away from people who enjoy these things. And again, I've got my stuff I'm excited for. Loki season 2's coming in like a month and change. I am so excited for that. I really hope it doesn't get kneecapped and turned in. I really hope it maintains the excitement of that first season.
Yeah.
So we shall see. All this stuff is available on Disney Plus. If you are a subscriber, enjoy responsibly or whenever you want to. Should we move on to Blue Beetle or Barbie after that?
Let's wrap up with Barbie is just they look like they want to put it in IMAX, right?
Oh, Barbie's going to go to IMAX for a week at the end of September. And they, from what I read in the report, it looks like they said that there's going to be, post-credit footage that hasn't been seen. If it's what I think it is, because I've read about this from another source, they had a post-credit scene where, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Barbie, Barbie's pregnant friend Midge finally is going to give birth. And then who's there? Who shows up as one of the doctors that's going to help out with that? Helen Mirren, who is the narrator of the film.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So, yeah, I mean, this is nothing new, and I'm sure Barbie had its sights set for an IMAX release from day one. I wonder if they actually converted it for such a release and then just shelved it for a potential later time.
Yeah.
I don't know how hard that would have been, but yeah, on one hand, I can't fault them because they, there's other deleted scenes that I hope they might throw in. Like, I think there was a Kate McKinnon, Ryan Gosling scene, and just watching those two together would be awesome. But there was also a deleted F-bomb, which I doubt they'll put back into the theatrical release because that'll probably, I don't know if it'll lose their PG-13, but they probably don't want to alienate families. Point is, it's not a dumb move, but at the same time, I kind of wish they would just extend Oppenheimer further because spoilers for those of you that want to see Oppenheimer in IMAX or IMAX 70mm, it looks like Equalizer 3 is going to be kicking it out. And then Equalizer 3 is going to give way to Barbie. I don't know what's going to be in there after Barbie, but I know Dune 2 comes out this fall, or should be coming out this fall. We'll see if they decide. I think they said before the end of the month they'll have a decision on that, whether they're going to push it back or not. But you have all these theaters that are still selling out. I mean, especially this weekend. This Sunday is National Movie Theater Day. $4 tickets for any format. And sure enough, they held that date for a while. I was like, why aren't they booking tickets for that day? Because I have a 70mm IMAX by me. And then sure enough, it was like, boom, $4 tickets, 4 different showings. Have at it, folks. And it's like, wow.
All right.
And you're really going to kick this movie out?
Yeah, it is what it is. Barbie.
No, I understand that.
Barbie.
Sometimes when my wife and I are talking about it, it's like, oh, yes, I know the Dolly movie is still out there.
Barbie.
I know.
Barbie.
But there's also
Barbie.
Malkovich. But what's also interesting is some theaters in IMAX already kicked out Oppenheimer for Blue Beetle last weekend, which unfortunately underperformed.
Which kind of leads into something we noticed this weekend. That's why I wanted to end with this. So
I'm mad. But yeah, what did you notice this weekend?
We were sitting around and we were getting ready to. We didn't have one of our kids at the house. We only had the younger one, so he went to bed really early, so we could actually watch movies and stuff this weekend. And we got on Vudu to see what was out. And I didn't know Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse had already come out for digital download.
Oh, yeah.
So we ended up watching that. The other one that was surprisingly out that I didn't expect it to be out so soon was No Hard Feelings, the Jennifer Lawrence movie.
Well, that's been a little while. You want to talk about digital release dates? Okay.
It's 2 months exactly, almost. It was June 23rd is when that came out. So.
Yeah, that I can see because let's see. I mean, it's made $86.4 million, which is not bad. On a $45 million estimated budget, so who knows how much they spent on promotion or anything else. So that seems good on paper, but there's all those other costs. Opened. I don't know how it. 12. Okay, so it looks like it opened to 12 million on opening weekend. If they really wanted to, they probably could have put that out 30 days after.
Okay.
But this one, I think, had a slow roll, and the studio kind of gave it a belief. They believed in it. They gave it room to breathe and room to make almost 100 million, which does not seem very bad based on that estimated budget.
I was just surprised. I was just kind of when I saw them, I was just like, oh, I would watch either one of them. We ended up buying Across Spider-Verse, so I paid my money.
What'd you think?
I liked it. We talked about this a little bit, and I don't want to go too far into this. I liked it. I thought the ending, while it was very good, and I know what they were doing, it seemed a little long.
Yeah, and I know because when we were talking about that, I was like, I think it might play better on subsequent viewings especially after seeing the second part.
It seemed like it climaxed, and then it didn't know where its exit was.
But while you're surprised by that, Last Voyage of the Demeter is going to be on VOD apparently August 29th.
That came out
Blue
like last
Beetle,
week, right?
Like, no, beginning of the month, but still, like within that, that's less than 30 days.
Yeah.
And now Blue Beetle, which brought in like, I think around 25 million last weekend, is going to digital. I think September 19th was the date I had seen. Pretty close. No, sorry. It'll be on Max October 24th. But I think on VOD it's going to be like late September.
It'll be interesting to see what it does this weekend with so many people saying it was good, that people really liked it. Because there's part of me, do you wonder if DC was suffering from a little bit of, it's another DC movie, I don't want to waste my money on it. Especially after Flash came out and it was, what people thought it was.
Yeah, well, Flash certainly did not help. So there's no exact date. It looks like there isn't an exact date for Blue Beetle, but from what I'm hearing, from what I was reading, it was like late September it would go to premium VOD. And then from something like a Google search had something that popped out and it's like, oh, it'll go to Max on October 24th. And it's like, I don't know if that's true or not, but it sounds kind of accurate considering it made 25 million last week. And I think the threshold is at least 30 million and they have to give it the full 30. I don't remember how, because there's certain thresholds that are set with theaters where it's like it has to be within a certain amount of time. It has to be theatrical exclusive for a certain amount of time, provided it makes a certain amount of money. But if it doesn't hit a certain threshold, you might be able to just get that out sooner. And yeah, it's a good movie. I want it to have an Elemental sort of story where it has legs. It performs week over week because of good word of mouth. And because of the fact that people actually believe in it. But
probably not going to happen.
You don't know that, especially as we're heading into Labor Day, where a lot of stuff is like, I mean, I'm curious to see how Equalizer 3 does, but we're heading into a box office period right now where it's kind of unpredictable, and we're still waiting for fall blockbuster season to kick off. That's why you're going to see Barbie go back to IMAX. Maybe depending on how the sales are going into September, maybe they bring back Oppenheimer again.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't be surprised if they bring Oppenheimer back for the winter. Like if they bring it back around Christmas time, sort of to hype things up for voters, for like video voters. Award voters. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that.
And I'm not gonna lie, Blue Beetle, especially since it's a DC movie, that's one. If I had the choices between seeing it at home or in the theater, I'm gonna see that one at home.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I know you don't like hearing me say that. It's true. I will say this: Flash was up on Vudu as well this weekend, and I just can't bring myself to spend money on that garbage.
Flash is on Max this weekend.
Is it really?
Flash is on Max.
No really?
Yep. In fact, I'm just gonna double check that for sanity, but Yep. Friday, August 25th, Flash is on Max.
Oh, thank God I didn't spend money on that garbage.
You can just watch it on Max and be as confounded as I was, or maybe you'll like it. Maybe you will like it. Who knows?
I want to see Michael Keaton.
Will...
I've seen enough of it that I know what happens in it, but I want to see... Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week on the show to talk about movies. Boy, a long one this week, Mike.
Yeah, but it's a good one. I think it's a good one. Oh, yeah. Don't even know if we need to do time travel because, we could probably talk about... You know what? I don't...
No time travel this week. No time travel. We're not messing with the space-time continuum again. We can't do it. My underwear keeps changing without me saying it.
No, but we could always save Equalizer. Well, Equalizer 3 is next week, so I'm going to try and get to that. Okay. And then we could always do Vacation Friends. Well, I'll do my Vacation Friends experience for 1 and 2.
Perfect. All right, Mike, you have yourself a great weekend.
You too, sir.